Hey, it's Beata from BA Coaching, and I am again today with
Hi, nice to see you again.
David, and today we are doing a lesson about second conditionals. So we have done zero first, and the next one up is the second conditional. And today's lesson is all about things that we dream about, things that we imagine, things which are impossible, things which are unreal. So, as always, the lesson is going to be interactive. We would like you to pause the video and think of some answers. At the same time, we would like to make this lesson inspirational.
Absolutely.
We will start with some quotes.
If I had two faces, would I be wearing this one?
Would you?
Okay, this was, excuse my really bad American accent, but that was by the very famous American president, Abraham Lincoln.
The second quote.
What would you do if you weren't afraid? And then go to do it.
Yes, I think that's what we discussed before, that you may have dreams, things you've always wanted to do, and you have never found the courage to do it. So do it afraid. So the next quote.
And what would you do if you could rule the world for a day?
Wow.
This was by Robert Musil, who was a very famous German or Austrian author from the early 20th century.
And I know that you've got an answer to this one.
Okay, if I could rule the world for the day, I would make sure that everyone was really nice to each other.
Next one.
If you could do it all over again, what would you change? We'd like you to think about it. If you could do it all over again, what would you change? Do you mean your life, your career, your ambitions, or anything that you would change because of your experience? Think about it.
The last one.
What would you attempt to do if you knew you wouldn't fail? So if there's no possibility of making any mistakes, what would you try to do?
Lovely.
Yeah.
So you can pause this video now and think about these answers. Think about the grammar, but okay, you can also think about the deeper meaning. These are really beautiful quotes. Take your time, pause the video. I hope you have come up with some answers and you have found the inspiration. We have prepared a little conversation. We will read it with David, and we would like you to think about the sentences in bold, so they are all using the second conditionals. So think about the meaning and the grammar as well.
I hate my work. If I had a better job, I would be so much happier.
You need more qualifications. If you had more skills, you could get something better. If you could choose anything, what would you want to be?
If I could choose anything, I would love to be an actor. I don't know. What would you do if you were me?
If I were you, I would take a drama course and start to enjoy your acting, because it might lead to other things.
All right then, don't think about it, just do it.
Lovely. Yes. So when do we use the second conditionals? Have a think. So hope you have come up with some answers. When do we use second conditionals? We use second conditionals when we talk about unrealistic, unlikely, imaginary, hypothetical situations and their consequences. So something we imagine, something we dream about, something that is not real.
Okay, so let's have a look at some examples. And the first one is, if I had a better job, I would be happier. So I don't have a good job, consequence, I am not happy. If you were me, what would you do? So this is asking for advice. I want you to imagine that you were in my position. What would you do in the same situation?
Next one.
If I didn't want to go to the party, I wouldn't go. So again, it's a hypothetical situation, which is imagining what would happen if I didn't wish to do something. The consequence of making that statement is, I do want to go to the party. So that's what you would say.
The next one.
He wouldn't have any money if he didn't work. Again, it's a hypothetical situation. You imagine what would happen if you didn't work, you wouldn't have any money. So he works. Again, we're talking about a consequence of a hypothetical situation. If you were in my position, what would you do? So you would say, but you are not in my position. All right? So again, this is a consequence, but we're using the word but to emphasize the fact that you are not in my position. It's a pity he can't drive. It would be useful if he could. Again, we're making a statement which is kind of a criticism. When I say it's useful if you could drive, which is urging someone to take an action, but at the moment he cannot drive. So we say, but he can't.
Yeah. And this is a classic example about money that most of us, say these kind of things. So we want you to say it correctly in English.
If I had more money, I would move to Spain. So this is stating something you want to achieve, an ambition. I would do something. But the consequence is, but I don't, so I can't.
Yeah. And the last one, again, that's kind of common for some people.
This is something everybody wants to do.
Probably.
If we won the lottery, we would travel the world. Now, again, that is an ambition. So just to repeat, if we won the lottery, we would travel the world. It's like a dream, yeah? However, the reality is, but we haven't, so we can't.
Yes. Well, here, this is a really good example where this depends on how lucky you are. So, for example, for some people who have never won anything, like me, I will use the second conditional because I have never won anything. So I would say, for me, this is purely hypothetical. If I won the lottery, I would travel the world. David, are you lucky? Have you ever won anything?
I've won a few premium bonds occasionally, which I guess is being lucky, but I've never won a really big prize. That would be fantastic.
Some people who are lucky, who constantly keep on winning, they will say probably the sentence using the first conditional. If we win the lottery, we will travel the world. So this is something interesting when you depending on how realistic you see the situation.
Absolutely. But always remember, it's good to dream. If you don't dream, you will never fulfill your ambition. So go for it.
Yes, definitely. We have now talked about the meaning and the use of the second conditional, so hope it is all clear. And now let's have a look at the grammar. We use past tense in the condition clause, and then you use would in the result clause. You can also use modal verbs in the result clause, such as could, should, or might.
If I had a better job, comma, I would be happier. Please remember, I like commas. What are commas used for? They make you breathe, they make you take time. So, if I had a better job, I would be happier.
So, if you start with the if clause, you need to use a comma. If you start with the result clause, you do not need to use the comma. There is something else we would like to point out, and it's the phrase if I were you. So grammatically correct, it should be if I were you. In the second conditional, for some reason, the English used if I were you. But can we use if I was you?
English people tend to use both expressions, if I was you and if I were you. If you're trying to be a little bit more thoughtful, I personally would say if I were you, when I'm putting the emphasis on me by saying I. If you don't want to be so like a teacher telling somebody what to think, if I was you, I would do such and such a thing. So if I were you, that would be a little bit more emphasis, a little bit more emphatic.
But if you are taking an exam, please stick with if I were you. Okay, this is it. For exams, it has to be if I were you. So we've come to the end of the lesson. We hope that you have found it useful, valuable, but it has also made you think about things and you have found deeper meaning to this lesson. If you have enjoyed it, please like it, share it, and subscribe to our channel. Our next lesson will be about the third conditional, and we would like to leave you with another quote using the second conditional.
So this is what I would call thought for the day, and today's thought for the day is, what would you do if today was your last day on earth?
So what would you do if today was your last day on earth? Bye.
Bye for now.